Doesn't look like my best daily, that's for sure. Let's see how bad it is. Well, first off, like I said, depending on what happened today, I would be able to determine if we have a high on the 12th or if the high was on the 9th. And since we definitely went higher today, my sense is that something similar happened in a past solar eclipse where the solar eclipse energy like overweighted a lot of the card energies, and so they were kind of the cards, the energies that of cards for like the opposite direction, i.e., for the downward direction, were kind of like they were like dampened. I don't know how else to explain it, and it appears to me like that's probably the same thing. But in any case, we had this breakout here today on a multi-day scale, super indicative that we'll likely have a high here on the 12th. So what I would do is, if I'm in a short position, because we were so off on this daily, my God. Wow. Well, okay, so the sneak preview is accurate. We've got the correlations to the halting of a bullish trend here between 11 and 1, marked by a sharp decline through key support, and you can see that took place right there, 1 o'clock, and took us to the Princess of Swords. Not much of a rally, though. I would expect the move to the upside here at the end of the day, last half hour. But this reading's really been off, so, you know, I mean, it could be wrong. But it does look like there's a pretty big move. Right now, what looks like we're doing is we had this little bit of a rally that increased with momentum. It is very short term. Kind of what'll happen when you have a bullish card in a bearish theme card. But this behavior right here is pretty much Valor energy, which would lead us to the following two cards, which are the Sun card and the Victory card or Breakout card. And since we did not see this big move yet, I would say it's probably coming pretty soon. Like within the next few minutes. Hey AV. Hey Tibraze. Hey Robert. Hey Deduct. Do I think we could go back to the high and the close now in SPY? My monthly forecast worked even though the daily didn't. Can you please correlate the two for the rest of the week? Yeah, this was not a good daily, guys. My apologies. Probably, I don't get bad dailies very often. I would put this in the top. It's got to be in the top 10 worst dailies that I've done. And it's still not awful, but it's pretty bad. Not up to my standards. Hey, Proof. Alright, so it is possible that we end up at a high here at the end of the day, yes. And I say that because we've got the Sun card, which it indicates a couple of things. Energetically speaking, it indicates the beginning of a rally or the start of a rally, but that's not always the case in the when we look at charts. From a chart standpoint, it certainly indicates a significant move to the upside. Hey, Buddy Bear. And it's combined with the Victory card, right? Which is I should also point out a strong cross-reading congruency. On the monthly, we have the Victory card here. Interesting. That is a bearish ruin, though. Well, I guess that's the second half of the day. That makes sense. Yeah, okay. But there should be a pretty big move to the upside. And then my sense is that we have a pretty big move down overnight from a peak here on the cusp. It's either a pretty big gap down overnight or we have a significant move to the downside in the morning, or it could be both. Ah, interesting. And so this appears as the theme card on the 11th. Interesting. You want to go sit over here, buddy? You're a good boy, Hermes, you know. Everybody loves you. That's right.
Everybody loves you. Don't give me that look, you goofball.
Correlate the dailies and the weeklies, or the monthly. All right, so we've got this cross-reading congruency. So on the monthly, we're on track. We're right on point. Like the as far as sequence of events, the 10th is the victory card. The 10th on the 1 day, the victory card on the 1 day appears on the 10th, putting us right on track. We should have sideways fluidity the following day. But this is going to be mixed, and I think we probably have a pretty significant move to the downside overnight and in the morning, or in the morning. But out of the low around the open, out of a low around a decline, like in the first, around the open or around the first half hour, there's a significant move to the upside, to a peak or crest, actually to a peak, and then another pretty significant sell-off from that peak between roughly 10 and 11. We also have the Ace of Swords here, indicative of a lot of price change. But this is a pretty difficult day to read. I wouldn't close out of my short positions just yet, guys. But I wouldn't want to hold on to them into Thursday. So like I think I would probably close out of the short positions tomorrow morning at the open, whether or not they're profitable. Interesting. And so the Ace of Swords is here on the 11th. We have the Ace of Swords here on the 12th. So that could be that the high is on the 11th. Let me see here. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm looking for Priestess. I'm looking for Magus. Priestess and Magus I'm looking for. Boom, Magus right there on the 11th. It's a cross-reading congruency. In other words, on the 1 year, the cluster right here for October, the high correlator card for the October high is the Magus card. It also appears here on the 11th, where we're indicating we have like a high here around the 11th, 12th. So probably what I would do is I would open up a partial short position on the 11th. I would probably play both sides of the market on the 11th. Because we got this Ace of Swords, we got this Princess of Swords, cross-reading congruencies. The price level that we have after this decline from the peak or crest to a support level, around 11 to 12, that price level we should pay attention to. It's somewhat important based on the change card. Yeah, but I wouldn't close out of my short position just yet, come to think of it. I don't know if I would even close out of it necessarily in the morning tomorrow based on the fact that we have a cross-reading congruency here. So let's see, do we have the Priestess card here? Do we have the Magus card here? I don't see either of those here. Yeah, I think it's probably, the highest probably tomorrow, guys. Matter of fact, this price level right here, the change price level, might be a high. like we attempt to establish support there, it might be, and then we likely revisit opportunity. So the way that I would play it is tomorrow, if there's a if your short position has a profit in the morning, take it. It's called short for a reason. If it doesn't have a profit, I might hold on to it. I'd open up. We might have the high tomorrow, actually, guys. It's difficult to determine. It's difficult to determine. And the reason I say that is because we've got this right here. We've got the fortune card kind of lined up with it. It might be that we see it both days. There's a brief peak that's easily missed in the morning. So what I would do is I would, if there's profit there on the short position in the morning tomorrow, I would close the short position for a profit. If there's no profit, I would just leave it, hold on to it. It might seem a little rough at first, but I think we'll be okay. Especially if you're in options, you should be in an expiration that expires out at the end of the month, and that gives you plenty of room to close out of that position here. Probably on the 17th or the 18th. 18th, probably. And so, if I do close out of that short position for a profit, my next trade would be I want to position myself in both directions for the following day if I can. So I'd probably open up partial short position here when we attempt to establish support at a high probably around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, excuse me, 11 o'clock. I open up a partial short. And then I'd open up a partial long here around 2 o'clock in the midst of like somewhere between 2 and 3 o'clock in the midst of a pretty notable fake out, shakeout to the downside, probably closer to 2. I'd open up partial long. And then at the close, depending on where we are, there's a lot of price change covered. But if we're at the upper end of the range, I'd complete the short position. If we're at the lower end of the range, I would complete the long position, and then the following day I would close the long position here at a peak or crest somewhere between 11 and 1. Probably closer to 1, but somewhere in there we're going to do some mixed behavior here around the high on the 12th. And the short position I would probably hold I might just leave partial short position, and then if we end up higher the following day... Hold on, let me just finish this off here. What? How does that spell? Say T, right? So this has got a strong correlation to the say TAT card here. I mean, I would probably hold the short position. I'd open up the partial, like I said. I'd open up a partial short here, maybe a little bit more of it at the close if we're near the upper end of the range, and then here around the high I would open up a little bit more. Possibly a little bit more here. Depends. It looks like we're kind of like toppy, but we don't necessarily go straight down. And then I'd probably close it on the 18th, looking at what I see here. Oh, is it like loud outside? The cops in New York have their hands full. Did I miss something on the news? Am I a vegetarian or vegan? So I'm supposed to be a vegetarian. I've kind of been really naughty about it, but that's what I'm supposed to be. I consider myself a like misbehaving vegetarian right now, and I really need to get myself in check. When do I plan to do live in the morning? I just have to kind of reset my schedule right now, but I'm thinking probably before the market opens at like 9. Hey W Ting Ting. What do I see for Bitcoin? Hermes, are you on my mouse, you goofball? Oh man, I don't want to do it right this second, but that's a good offer. What is going on here? Okay, there we go. Yeah, you're a good boy, Hermes. So there's that big move to the upside on the first. Cash out opportunity on the second, a lot of price change. Opportunity open up a long, close that long. So it looks like tomorrow we have a pretty notable move to the upside. Bitcoin's really mixed this month, but we're in the midst of a decline today. Why does the chart look like that? Does anybody get why it looks so flat? It's so annoying. I don't understand why these charts are so funky. Like, what? Why is this one so different? I don't get it. Anyhow, so we're in the midst of this Princess of Cups decline today. That is an opportunity. They usually appear. It usually appears before a notable move to the upside, and we have a move to reach for distant resistance on the 11th into a prominent peak or crest on the 12th, 13th, where you'd probably cash out on the 12th or the 13th for a profit on a long position if you were to open it now or if you had opened it a little earlier. Deduct, you're saying you bought puts that expire on the 17th? So deduct, if you bought puts that expire on the 17th, you need to roll those puts out for sure. You don't want to ever have, so if your exit date is on the 18th, you want to have an expiration at least a week out past the 18th in case we're not in the price level wise that we need to be. You don't want your option to like completely like the value to keep completely evaporate because it's not in the money on day of. Like, it's, trust me, you want to make sure you leave yourself at least like 5 days past the point, and that's even pushing it, but at least 5 days past the point, 5 trading days past the point at which you plan to exit. Do I see 445, 446 on the 11th, 12th? So I was thinking about it yesterday, guys. Looking at the October monthly, so it's the Princess of Discs and the Princess of Swords, opposite energies in the tarot deck. Like, those are the opposites of each other, and it speaks of important opportunity at a key support on a multi-day scale, and important opportunity at key resistance on a multi-day scale. My sense is that we might go from one end of the range to the other end of the range based on that. I was thinking about it yesterday. But do we go to 445? That was the question, right? Let's see, did it pick up the line? No. So annoying. Do we see SPY meet $445 price range on the 11th? Yes or no? I just shuffled them in opposite directions. I hate when I do that. Ugh. Give me a sec, guys. I like to make sure that they're all in the proper. Well, not I don't check every time I shuffle, but for the most part, I want to make sure that I keep the cards all facing the same direction. And the reason why is because when I have an inverse card, for me, it gives it extra importance. I don't read the card as like the opposite energy or the opposite of whatever its right side up definition is. Like many classical tarot readers will read, or tarot readers will read classically. An inverted card means the opposite to them, but to me, because of SO meta-analysis and the nature of stocks going up and down and directional information, I thought it made more sense. It was a lot less confusing to make all the cards relevant in one direction. And if you do find an inverse card, what it's indicating is to pay special attention to that card, or that moment, I should say. All right, so do we hit 445 on SPY on the 11th? Yes or no? Wow, I got a yes. Yikes. So guys, if you're in a short position and it's not options, things are going to get a little hairy. But again, we have lows at the end of the month. So if you've got the risk tolerance for it, I would say you don't want to sell on the 11th or the 12th out of a short position for a loss. That would be probably the worst time to do it. Even though it may really look bleak at that moment, might make sense to add to the position, or better off roll into a better position in anticipation of the move to the downside. Yeah, because the trade opportunities on the 11th and the 12th. Wow, that's interesting. What will CPI reaction be on the 12th?
Hey, it was luck.
What will be the market's reaction to CPI data on the 12th? So we're going to test the resistance, probably poke through it about 3 times. And off of the third poke, there should be a sharp decline. What does VVS Finance crypto look like for early November? Early November. So VVS Finance between now and early November, overall trend behavior, it's pretty mixed, sidewaysy, and then in November we should see there's an opportunity in November, and a notable move to the downside to revisit a support level. It might be that the opportunity's down there, that's revisiting of the support level. Well, so from this, on the topic of meat, I mean, it's each their own, but for me, what I've noticed is that it definitely lowers my vibration. That doesn't mean it does for everybody, but for me, it definitely lowers my vibration. I feel much more vital energy when I'm eating plant-based food, and that's also because it's still got prana in it. It's not death. I do not know how to reset the chart, AW Tinting. Okay, yeah, deduct. So you want to make sure you roll those options out. You don't want to have them expiring on day of that you intend to exit. Very, very risky thing to do. In order for you to make money, they need to be in the money, or in order for you to walk away with money after purchasing those options, they need to be in the money at expiration, or they need to be sold before expiration, before losing all of their time value, if that makes sense. So you want to give it yourself extra wiggle room. When you go to the bottom, right click the mouse. Oh. Appreciate it. And this thing too, probably, right? What do you mean the range 435, 430? You want to know what the range is? Well, see, we're coming up on this gap here. Well, so the bottom of the range, obviously down here around 421 to 420. We're already up the upper end of one important range, but I would say, based on the information that I drew from the cards about the 445 range, there's a pretty big move there. And that would make sense, guys. On the 11th, the overnight card is like a adjustment card, which is usually a pretty significant move to the upside. So I would probably open a long position in the morning in the midst of that low. And if I have profit in a short position, I would take it there. If I don't have profit in the short position, I would sit tight on that. If there's opportunity at the end of the day to add to the short position, I would. But the long position, I would probably hold, in, like I said, until the 12th here midday, like between 11 and 12. Hey AJ, do I still expect the lowest low for the year in the last week of October? I think so, yes. Let's take a look. I do. I see a low here in October. Towards the end of October. But as far as things are going, my prediction I had here, possibility of a high here, it wasn't as strong a possibility as a high here, but it turns out, and this is what happens with SO Meta sometimes, is that my expectation was that this was a possibility. This is actually what's now holding to be probably the most truthful as the high based on what took place. We had a higher price level today on the 10th. On the live yesterday, I said depending on if we opened higher or lower, I'd be able to determine if the 12th is going to be our high. But that's what it looks like. The 12th is our high. And it may be that we revisit it. It may be the same high as the 11th, but I don't think so. It's hard to say, guys, you know. I think we probably revisit it. On the 12th. Tesla question. Oh, sorry, AV. I don't see the Tesla question. Oh, okay, here we go. Tesla. Okay, let's take a look. I mean, I'm seeing a similar thing with Tesla. I'm not sure about the lowest low. Maybe I said there's some possibility of a lowest low. The strongest possibility of the lowest low is here. Is here and here. It looks like the 17th, and then the 24th. Maybe even the 23rd. But there's a trough based on what took place. We had this rally. The rally ends. We come back down a little bit. Right, so there's this rally that ends. That's why the completion card is kind of a mixed card. Tomorrow we should have a prominent move higher and a full retracement. I don't think we're going to open... I mean, I think we'll open in a prominent trough. I don't think it's going to be a lowest low, but there's no indication here on the 1 month reading that I expected a lowest low, so I'm a little confused by that. There's stronger probability of a highest high here around the cusp of the 11th, 12th, and the lowest lows that you want to really like be banking on are here on the 17th, 18th, and the 23rd, 24th, maybe even the 20th. It's kind of interesting down there. Actually, I gave up pepperoni pizza a long time ago, Robert. It is definitely delicious, but it'll kill you. How's Tesla looking for the rest of the week? It looks like tomorrow it's going down. Hey, Nature's Well, welcome. Hey, B. Tesla for the rest of the week. Yeah, so tomorrow we should have a prominent move higher, but it's probably from a gap down. Prominent move higher and then a full retracement of that move. And then on the 12th, another move to the upside, possibly another gap down. Yeah, and then there's probably a pretty big gap down over the weekend because you see where you go from like these highest highs here on the 11th, 12th to a lowest low on the 17th, 18th. So this is following pretty strongly with the S&P 500 or the SPY reading. Oh, thus far. Got you. Got you, yes. Okay, thus far. Okay, so... That's definitely likely. I mean, we're really not that far off, but it would really have to be a crazy move. Wow, that would be some drop. It would. It really be some drop. I do see a gap down though, and then there's a pretty significant move higher and a full retracement. So it could be that we have a really big move between the two. I would be I would probably still have a bullish stance on Tesla looking at the rest of the week, but it's mixed. We probably have at least 2 gaps down overnight ahead of bullish moves to the upside. So guys, this Tesla reading, we actually have people who subscribe to the Tesla monthly have access to that as soon as it comes out on the website. Under our services, Escrow Meta Posts, scroll down to monthly subscription, click here to order, scroll down to Tesla, and subscribe, and that gets you the full version of the Tesla reading monthly with all of the trade information that we see ahead of time. For moving forward, starting with these November readings as they come out, we're only giving away the first week of the month now. Everything else is behind the paid version. But that's a great way to support the channel. And then if you like that, or when you do like that, I highly recommend upgrading to the 250 because you get access to all of these ticker symbols in crypto as well as Google and Amazon. Great way to support the channel. We know the names of everybody that subscribes to these because they're like the core foundation of our financial support. They really are responsible, big part of of the team allowing us to put out the content that we put out. All right, my friends, I think I'm gonna roll. As always, thank you so much for watching. Look out for a 9 a.m. Live session. Probably not tomorrow, but by the end of the week we should see one. What price will SPY hit on? Thank you for the hearts. Hit on 17th, 18th. Do you think perhaps 400? It looks like the S&P on the 16th is mostly bullish, but I think we open at a lower price level. And there's a cross-reading congruency again right here that I left out. Wait. Yeah. Oh no, I got it. It's here, and what am I saying? It's in the yellow. So if I'm wrong about the gap down over the weekend, because sometimes I'm wrong, guys. So if on the weekend of the 13th to the 16th, we don't have a significant gap down, it might be that we have a high at the end of the day on the 16th, and then we decline pretty notably. Sometimes the unicursal sometimes indicates the decline, or the moment sometimes indicates the moment before the decline. Sometimes it just indicates a price level, not on a 1 month, but on a daily. Sometimes it'll indicate a price level that's, if we continue to go higher after seeing that, it's indicating a price level will break down through when we have the next correction. Hey, appreciate it. It was luck. Thank you very much. So 400 Well, I think we'll at least see the low that we saw at the beginning of the month. At least. I might verify these questions tomorrow. I feel like my energy might be a little off today. Just saying. So I might verify these questions again tomorrow. I got a yes for 400 on the 17th, 18th. And with that said, my friends... Oh, one last Hamza, but hey, Hamza. You know, I've never looked at the relationship between solar eclipses and any crypto, but so on the 15th, there is like a reversal, like a rally that ends, but I'm not necessarily seeing... I mean, so on the 16th, a pretty big decline. That's over the weekend there, right? And then we have lows there. It's pretty mixed throughout the month for Bitcoin. Pretty mixed, guys, really. But I don't see like a huge impact, anything other than like maybe following along with what the S&P is doing, because it does look similar, except a lot more mixed, like a lot more back and forth than the S&P. All right, my friends. And as always, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You do so here on the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders. 5% of the profits should be donated forward to one of these charities. 5% of the profits back to the channel, leaving you with 90%. Make sure to spend that money out of love. As long as you follow those rules, makes you an angel investor of the channel. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Blessings. You're welcome.